Hello and welcome. Happy New Year, one and all. I'm Michael as always, and I'm joined by one and only Craig, mate. Happy New Year. How are we doing?
Happy New Year, mate. Disappointed.
Disappointed, frustrated. God, I hate that style of football, mate. It is like first of all, before I start with the whole moaning process, fair play to Blackburn. Like credit where credit's due. They came with a game plan and it worked to that extent. But that whole anti-football, the way they play, it's just not a bit of me, man. I just do not like it one bit.
I don't think anybody does. We watch football for entertainment, and I know it's a results-based business and what have you, and people have got to do what they've got to do. But like I said earlier today to someone in a group chat that they'll finish where they deserve to be finished if they play like that. Because if you don't go out to win games,
I
you're not
mean,
gonna.
th- this is just the Blackburn style. They went on that whole 1-0 winning streak for however long it is, and that's what they do. They get a goal and just sit back. And it's working for them. Like I say, fair play. But for me, I want to see attacking football, or at least have a go. Obviously, I'm not expecting teams to come to Ellen Road and try and score four against us, or at least gung ho against us, because it's not going to work. So I guess they've got to do what they got to do. That's fine. Like that's not. It's, it's just the whole style. I'm not having to go at them for how they played against us. It's just their style of football. I'm not a fan of.
Well,
Pretty dirty
there were
as
a lot of
well.
time wasting. There were a lot of time wasting as well in that game, and apparently, I read somewhere that the ball was in play for about 50 minutes.
That doesn't surprise me. I mean, first half there wasn't anything to talk about as such. Obviously, good pressing. I mean, even Perot pressed their goalkeeper. The goalkeeper was
Yeah,
on ice a couple of times. He fell over, didn't know what he was doing. Apart from that, anything of note in the first half for you, or is it just trying to get a feel and a sense of things?
I just thought the more the first half went on, it was slipping away from us. The control of the game were going to slip away from us, and I just thought it's just going to be another one of them days against Blackburn. That the more time went on, I thought nothing because if when Perot pressed the goalkeeper and he slipped, I thought if he'd have slid in and challenged with like a slide, he might have got that ball. Like it
Yeah,
might like the goalkeeper might have kicked it against him and it had gone in. But um, yeah, they were getting away with stuff like that that were lucky that it were. It was just a fraction of a second he got to the ball too quick, and I just thought, yeah, it's not going to be our day today, and yeah, it ended up not being.
no. Obviously, second half, Byron comes off injured. Verba comes on. I think that changed the dynamics of things. In the sense that Verba gets forward a lot more than what Byram does. He's a lot more able-bodied than he does, and then obviously Bogle was playing well. Then he got injured and had to come off, and then it was a case of right, who's coming on? You saw Smith warming up to come on. You saw Nonto about to come on. It turns to Ampadu, and I'm like, of all the like, no offense, I love Ampadu, but in that sense, change it up, go for something different. You can play a back three of Verba, Pascal, and Rodon, and then bring on Smith, for example, as a fullback with James, or something different. And it was just now we'll stick on Ampadu and just. I wouldn't say we played for a draw in that sense, or did we? Do you know what I mean? Like the West Brom game.
Yeah, I don't think we'd played for a draw. I just think there's not many options at that. If Bogle gets injured and you've not got Byram available, you've not got that many options to do much there apart from maybe go to a back three. But I mean, I think the game needed someone like Ampadu to, but not Ampadu in a right back position. You needed Ampadu in the middle of the park that that it gets stuck in and roughs things up a little bit. And I think that's what it needed against them. But we needed a bit more creativity because the problem you've got is like it looked like Dan James had a bad game.
Yeah.
but he's got no space behind. He's not got because they're set that deep. He can't get in behind, and that's Dan James's game. If he can, if he's got the ball running at you, he's not as good as if he's got the ball and he's knocking it past you, and he's got space to run into. Solomon were a bright spark, I thought.
In the
Um,
second half.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
he did a couple good bits in the first half, but again, it wasn't. He just ran into like no man's land each time.
yeah,
Just before he got off, though, sorry. So just before he went off, he was trying. He was getting the better of their right back. Beck,
yeah.
I think it was Beck.
He,
But apart from that,
he put a couple of the best crosses in. A couple of the best crosses of the game went in from him. That twice we just needed someone on the end of it, and James missed out just by like a few inches on
yeah.
both occasions. But it's yeah, it's one of those. It's just they came with a game plan, and they always do against Leeds, and it worked. They did it last season. Came to frustrators, and it worked. But yeah, I saw something earlier as well that John Eustace he must have been watching a different game to what I was, because he apparently is saying that Leeds were getting the rub of the green with the referee. Leeds were getting the rubbery. Leeds were time wasting, and I'm like, no, I,
I
I never
mean,
saw
we definitely weren't time wasting. That's just not what we do. We just get on with it. But I think it's because of the amount of passes we done. Maybe seeing that we were time wasting the fact that we weren't pushing anywhere because a lot of our plays was in the middle third and or our half because we just couldn't break them down. We had to retry other things. But when it came to their goalkeeper having a ball, took for ages, or goal kicks, or anything like that, it took an age. Obviously,
that.
you had, when I said a minute ago with Beck, it was also Britain as well. So they doubled up on our wingers. So as soon as it went to either side, James had two players on him all the time, pretty much. Solomon
Yeah,
had a bit of space, like I said, just before he came off, he was like warming up. I think it was a bit of a strange decision to see him come off. I, I mean, when did he come off? Solomon came off in the 70th minute, which
yeah,
it was weird the fact that it was Joe Rothwell, Pirro, and Solomon came off. I don't mind Pirro coming off because he was just ineffective in this game. Rothwell I thought had a decent game, but you knew anyway that he was going to be coming off anyway when the whole Bogle situation and Ampadu. You just knew that it was going to be Rothwell coming off Nonto. I think it was pre-planned. I just don't think they had the injury. I think the injury took it out of them. But there's the,
yeah. That's what I mean. It's some substitutions would have been for like tactical reasons that can't be helped, but yeah, bringing Solomon off were a strange one for me because he was getting the better of their fullback, and it was just starting because I think they were starting to tire, and then he started getting some joy. Same as like James on the other side. I reckon if you'd have kept Solomon on, um, and the joy that he started getting towards the end, I reckon James would have probably found himself with a bit more space in the final like 10, 15 minutes. But it's one of those because I think they doubled up on James, so it made it look like he didn't get much. He wasn't effective as much because
yeah,
in the first half, I think there was a ball over the top, and he left Beck for dead. And
yeah.
and
We know he's got the speed and the pace to get past anybody in this league,
yeah,
but no, it is a strange one bringing someone off, especially when you go to a 4-4-2, which is what we seem to do. Why you didn't bring off Aronson if you're going to put on Joseph and Bamford? I mean, fair enough if it was going to be Ramazani coming on for Solomon, I'd understand that more. But two strikers and Nonto, it just for me didn't seem to make sense. I
well,
understand why you want to go full out for it, but this
personally, I mean, the changes. If it was me personally, the way that I saw the game going, I'd have took Aronson off and put Ramazani on and left Solomon on, and I'd have
Yeah,
left Perot on because as ineffective as what Perot might be, he's the best finisher that we've got.
yeah,
And if you need a goal, anything, and the last like you're playing around that box, they're playing that deep. All the plays in and around their 18-yard box. The what you need is someone who's like a clinical finisher. So whether the ball drops to him or not, he doesn't have to be effective. You get other players like if you bring Ramazani on that can create something out of nothing. You keep Solomon on. You've got James. All he needs is that one chance.
I mean, let's get on to our goal because we've not even mentioned the penalty yet. I mean, I've seen lots of, especially Blackburn fans, saying that it wasn't a penalty; it was really soft and all of this.
Just like
Let-
John Eustace did, and it people forget in the other fixture at their ground that was a soft penalty.
yeah, and I've said it at the start of the season. It will work itself out in this league. You'll get decisions go your way one week, and then other weeks not. Solely
Yep.
based about we haven't got VAR in the league at the moment. I know they're looking at doing it for next season, whether that's true or not. But when you've got a, a yeah, when you're taken out in the penalty area and you fall down, the referee's got a split decision to make. He's obviously given the penalty, and then Bamford grabs the ball, mate. What what did you think when Bamford grabbed the ball?
It's I don't expect Bamford taking penalties because I know that strikes. If Perot's not on the pitch, I know strikes the next penalty taker, and the last I don't know, I can't count how many or remember, but the last so many penalties that we've had since Bamford stopped taking them, he's picked up the ball and passed it on. I think it's a psychological thing. He does it. He's done it every time for the last so many games that we've had a penalty and he's been on the pitch. So I weren't worried that he were going to take it because I thought it's because I know the penalty takers are Perot and then Strike.
Yeah, I mean, when he had it, and then obviously Nonto tries taking it off him, and then all you heard from the commentators were Tanaka's gone over to the sideline to get instructions, and then
Yeah,
Pascal's there, and it's the fact that he just side foots it into the middle, just a little bit of the left. So goalkeeper's right, keeper dives
yeah.
right, and it's no keeper dives left, and he goes slightly to his right, which well taken penalty. And then what happens? They go straight on the other side and get a corner, and you're just thinking, right, we've already defended one corner. Let's just see this game out. Scrappy goal, and it's poked in, mate.
Yeah, it was a crazy goal to concede, and I mean, just letting him back up the other end of the pitch to get a corner was bad enough. After and it was weird seeing. I'm surprised they didn't have a nosebleed being up at that end of the pitch,
And
but
they had four shots altogether, two on target, and one of them happens to be in the back of the net. And you just think, come on. And then we go down the other end, potential penalty, which we will touch on momentarily with the whole James situation.
yeah,
But then you also had Verber as well at the last minute, which, to be fair, Verber in that position, I don't mind him being one of the furthest forward because he's got a cracking foot on him. He can bury it. He was unlucky. Keeper made a decent save, but he was unlucky. But let's go back to the penalty that we should have had, mate. Do you think it was a penalty? Yes or no? Or a free
on
kick?
100%. It was whether it was in or out of the box. It looked like it were inside when he actually barged into him, but whether it was inside or outside, it was a foul on James. And how the referee gave it the opposite way, I will never. Still can't understand because in my thinking and my years of playing football, that's a foul on James.
I mean, he's even looking at the ball, James. So he looks at the bounce and he runs for it, and then the other guy just wipes him out. And it is a bit like, what are you doing? But again, fair result. We're still top of the league, so
Yeah.
let's crack on with some player ratings a minute, mate. I mean, we're recording this as Sunderland are beating Sheffield Wednesday with a fair few minutes to go. But yeah, mate, Meslier, mate, what do we rate for him?
Um,
It's a
he didn't
tough
have
one.
much. He didn't have much to do, did he? He didn't have much to do though. To be fair, apart from that. So what? I mean, can you just give him a 6.5 maybe because he were playing as a sweeper for most of the game.
I think I'm just going to give him a box under 6. I mean,
Yeah,
could he have done better for the goal?
I,
Maybe. But again,
I've
he was
seen
on the other side, and I don't think he
yeah
was at fault to blame for that goal at all. We're
I've
just
seen I've seen people blaming him saying that it's Melier again, and it's not his fault that he's
no, he
defending
should.
in the first place. By the way,
He should.
Sunderland have just won, so
Come on, baby, get in there. That is actually a really, really good result. Even though I'd probably rather a draw, but Sunderland winning actually means that we increase the gap on Sheffield United
we're
anyway.
now 3 points in. We're now 3 points above everybody with a better goal difference than everyone. So
Plus 8 goal difference over Burnley, so that's good. Right, Bogle until he came off, mate.
Right. I think Bogle is. I think people are underrating him, and lately he's just getting better and better. He was in. Um, yeah, the form he's in at the minute. I hope this is not a bad injury, and I hope he's going to be back for all because he tries to make things happen. And him and James on that side, when they're both on the pitch, fantastic. They've got a brilliant partnership together. And yeah, I'd say 7.5 for Bogle.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like we spoke about it in the last episode as well with partnerships and stuff. So good, them two. And I just think he's unlucky with the injury. I mean, he came off in the 51st minute, so
Yeah,
I think just because of that, I'm going to give him a 7.
fair enough. I thought you were only the one of the few players that was trying. That's all.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you, but I just think that because of the amount of minutes, I'm only going to give him a 7.
Yeah.
Right, road on, mate. What we're going to rate him?
Uh,
Didn't
it's,
do much wrong, I don't think.
yeah, but they were never involved in the game much. Whether as in they didn't have much defending to do. So
I mean, 5 defensive aerials, 2 offensive aerials. Didn't make a tackle. He attempted one, but didn't make it. Made 3 clearances. Uh, mo- and he had the most touches on the pitch again because of how we play. You
yeah,
expect your centre backs and Tanaka to have the most amount of touches. I mean, he had the most amount of touches with 126 touches.
yeah. I'd say probably I'd just go with a 7. I think a
Yeah,
box standard 7.
right. Pascal, what are we going to rate for him, mate?
Maybe I'd probably give him the same, but maybe a 7.5 just because he coolly slotted a penalty away.
5 offensive headers, 3 defensive aerials. Again, no tackles, 4 clearances. So again, he had to make clearances, but nothing that really stood out. Again,
No,
got the goal. I think if it was the winner, I'd give him an extra point 0.5. But because we
yeah, I think
conceded
it's
and
just. I
how
mean, I
we
think
went about conceding,
because I would, I'd give him both 7, but because he put the penalty away in the last minute, I'd say 7.5. But yeah, him and Rodon, like I said, they didn't have much defensively to do. Apart
no.
from the one every header that came over, every time Blackburn tried to play a ball over,
Yeah,
they just won every header. So it's yeah, just box standard 7s.
I'll give him a 7.5 just because of the goal.
Yeah.
Right, Sam Byram, mate. What do we make about him for the first half? So obviously, he came off injured.
Uh,
Didn't really do much.
no.
Couple interceptions he made.
Yeah, apparently he was suffering with a cold, weren't he? So
Yeah,
I'd probably just give him a 6.5. I don't think he did anything. I don't think
yeah,
he
I
did
agree.
anything special. But for me, when Verber came on, I thought Verber were more effective than what Byron were.
Yeah. I do find that more recently, especially going forward, Verba is much more effective
Yeah,
than Byram is. I just think Verba has much more understanding of our wingers, who like whether it's Solomon play or mainly
yeah.
Solomon. He has a better understanding and link up with Solomon than what Byram does. I mean,
And he gets in goal scoring positions as well. Though he
yeah,
gets them crosses in because he's naturally left footed. He doesn't check back as much as what Byron does. Byron seems to check back a lot,
Byram
and
scored though. Byram has scored and he does get in there. There's you can't just say that Verba gets in there and Byram doesn't. Byram does get
no,
in
I'm
there.
not. I didn't say Byron doesn't do it, but what I'm saying is Verber does it often, more
Yeah,
often.
yeah, yeah. In that, yeah, that's
Because
fine.
Verber were on the pitch for the second half today, and he had an header, he had a shot that that tested the
Yeah,
keeper. He gets his shots away rather than looking to pass it, or like where Byron might only he only takes a shot if he's got a shot on goal. Otherwise, he might look to pass it. Whereas Verber will have a crack.
Verba got the joint second most amount of shots, but I will get into that when we get on to Verba for player
Yeah,
ratings. Right, Joe Roth. Well, yeah, sorry, ratings for Byron, mate.
yeah, 6.5.
I'm just gonna go for a standard six.
Fair enough.
I don't think he was as good as Bogle, and I've given
I'll,
Bogle
I'll
six
give
point
Bo-
five.
I'll give Bogle 7.5. So I'm still it's not as good as Bogle.
Yeah, no, that's fine, mate. Joe Rothwell, then, mate, for what
uh, I'd give I'd give Rothwell a 7.5. I think 'cause he tried to make things happen.
he does, though. That's what he always does,
Yeah,
especially he only made one key passes today, but again, passing when he had to looked forward a lot more than what others would. Yeah, I think I'm being really harsh on my ratings today. Seven for him.
fair enough.
If I'm being really harsh with my ratings, guys, let me know in the comment section that I'm completely wrong. If you agree, or if you agree with me and I'm right, because hell, I'm always right. I'm the
Well, I'm
best.
just being generous anyway because it's New Year. So
That's, that's maybe why I'm being really harsh. So when they get have a decent game, I can write like New Year, New Year, right? Tanaka, mate. What do we rate for Tanaka?
I'm just gonna go him 7.5 as well, same as Rothwell, just for his he's getting he's getting back to his normal reading of the game, where he just mops up everything.
So I've given Tanaka no. So if I give Rothwell a, what did I give Rothwell again?
7.
Seven. I'm going to give Tanaka 7.5. He was better, but again, recently he's not. I don't know what it is. He's not been at that explosion of being what I say the best player in the league. He has dropped off a little bit in form, but again, he's in Germany. You have that massive winter break, whereas in England you're playing literally every 3, 4 days. So
Yeah,
it might be something that he is getting used to. So I will allow it. Obviously, it's Tanaka. We all love Tanaka.
yeah,
I'm
that'll
gonna
have
give,
something to do with it. He's not used to playing that many games.
right, let's go to James next. Most amount of shots for us with three, only one on target and two shots were blocked though. What would you rate for him, mate?
See, I didn't think it was that bad. I've seen people say that he had a really bad game, but I don't think he was that bad. It's just it were hard for him because he's got no space in behind, and and that's what his game is. But again, he has shots. He tries to create, and he puts everything into it. Um, I'd probably say a 7. It weren't as effective as normal, but I think that's due to how Blackburn set up. So I'd say a 7.
No, I agree with you. Obviously, when you doubled up and stuff like that, especially with how he likes to play off the shoulder of a player, and he did do that, and then he just ran into the other player because he had no space to have that dip of the shoulder run.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm going to give him a 7 as well. Right?
yeah. I don't want to be too harsh on him because
No,
we're talking about Dan James. We're not talking about Neymar. That you can double up on him and he can like find his way out of it. You're talking about Dan James. That's you know he's
just a
got
completely
speed and that's it.
different style and different types
Yeah,
of players.
exactly.
Neymar's a skillful player. James is just, I'm going to run
Yeah,
at you. I'm going to outrun you. You know that.
yeah, but
But
that's it. You can nullify that, but it doesn't mean to say that he's bad just because you
no.
can nullify that by sticking two people on him.
Right. Brendan Aronson, mate. What did we make about him today? Your I know your opinions on him and that you don't even think that he should be a footballer. And I've seen people online as well saying that he's pretending to be a footballer as well. So let's hear your thoughts on him before I defend him, potentially. We'll see.
Well, can you defend that shot he had?
I don't know, probably not. I mean, he had a shot.
What it a shot or a
Probably not.
clearance?
Who knows with Varrington, mate, let's be
It was
honest.
like it was what 8 yards out of goal, and he still skied it over the bar. It's like, come on, man.
I mean, I'm trying to find positives from his game, but again,
Two major
it,
things for me. I'm going to give him a 6 point. I'm going to give him a 6, right? But two major things for me because he doesn't stand out in games. Yeah, he runs around a lot. He presses a lot. But he don't. When he presses, he don't necessarily always come away clean with the ball and then pass it on to someone. He might win the ball and then it's either played easy to back or which is it's fine sometimes. But two major things today is that shot that he skied over from that far out, which were crazy, and then there were another one where towards the end he got the ball and Bogle running past him. I think it was towards the end of the first half. I think it was. Bogle just went past him, and all he had to do was lay it off. First time, lay it off. And Bogle were in, and he held on to it, which allowed Blackburn to then crowd around him. And then he does that little shimmy side to side, and still don't know what to do. And he held on to it for so long, and then ended up losing it. And it's like he does it so often, and that's what frustrates me.
no, I agree. I agree. I was going to give him a 6 anyway, so I was a little bit shocked when you said 6.5, or you went to say 6.5.
Oh
It
yeah,
definitely wasn't.
I was gonna be generous, and then I realised I could buy him 6.5. So
That's just being way too generous, mate. There's being kind and there's being too kind.
yeah.
I I will back him. Everyone knows that, especially Phil. He'll be listening. But it's one of those things where he's been on great form. I know we said last episode it was last 2 games, last 3, 4 games he has picked up form, whether or not he's scoring or assisting. So he is contributing. But I think when he doesn't do anything of that, it stands out more with that he doesn't do that, if that makes sense. So in fact
Yeah,
that
well, it does make sense because every time this is what I always complain about, isn't it? That every time he gets an assist or he scores, it masks everything else he does in the game.
I think he does a little bit, but I think sometimes you have been a little bit too harsh on that when again with your pressing and stuff like that. I understand that he is like a little chihuahua that would just nitpick at your leg all day long.
Yeah, but
But
you pull up your stats then and tell me how many times he's lost the ball.
the exact same amount as Dan James, mate. 3.
What today? I'm talking about all season.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not even going to bother with all season, mate.
Yeah, exactly. And I read today, it's like he's doing well, but you've got I read today Sam Greenwood scored the same amount, got the same amount of assists, and he's playing at Preston. So it's like he's not.
That's irrelevant, mate. I really.
It is because he's playing in the same position, and he's got the same amount of goals, he's got the same amount of assists, right? And he's playing in a team that's like not I say struggling, but It's not the team that we're in. And
I don't
Aronson,
think you can compare them because it's a different style of football. Sam Green would most likely be on your free kicks, your penalty. I know he takes the penalties because he scored 2 penalties the other day, I believe. He's on their
yeah,
free kicks, so he's more around. Whereas Aronson's not taking our penalties, not taking our free kicks. Thank God for that, because how they'll probably end up in the for a throw in for them. But I just think it's hard to compare two
I'm not,
players.
well, I'm not comparing them as that. I'm just comparing the statistics that they've got the same amount of goals, the same amount of assists, and it's like you that you can't say, oh, Aronson's doing this and he's doing that. Yeah, he is, but other people are doing that as well. But it's like he loses the ball. That's the major part of his game. He loses the ball
Yeah,
more than anyone else.
no, I agree with you, and I know that. Right, let's try and find some positives in Solomon.
Solomon,
Obviously, again, like we've already spoken to, he got started getting in the game a lot more in that second half. Did cause him trouble a fair bit, I thought. What did you make about him today? Because I know that you texted me earlier and said that people were saying he had a bad game and stuff like that. So I want to hear your thoughts on him a minute.
yeah, I was reading online that people are saying that Solomon were rubbish and this and the other, and I was just like, what game were you watching with? Like, he grew into the game, and he took his time to find his feet, and once he grew into it, he found he had the better of that of their right back, before he came off.
Yeah.
Especially in the second half, it were getting crosses in, dangerous crosses as well, and all it needed was someone on the end of him. Dan James missed out by inches twice from Solomon's crosses, and he looked lively, and he had the better of him. And I think when you've got a player like that that's capable of creating stuff like that out of nothing, he needs to stay on. And he were unlucky to come off, and I can understand his frustration because he knows he got the better of them. And yeah, I'm going to give him a 7.5 because he was probably one of the standout players for me.
I'm only going to give him a 7. Um, yes, he grew into it, and I saw a lot of people online. Why are we bringing him off? He's again, it's X. It's you're going to get one that's again. This is trying to take politics out of it, but a lot of people are solely focused on the politics side of it. They don't want him at a club. Doesn't matter if he could score a hat trick, and people would say that he had a bad game because it's Solomon, or they just won't acknowledge it. For me, I'm focusing on the player aspect only here. And a lot of people I did see say that he was frustrated. He was one of our brightest sparks. He shouldn't have come off. He had every reason to be frustrated. He did. He was probably our best player right up until he came off. I'm going to give him 7.5 as well. I wasn't going to. I was going to give him a 7, but solely based on thinking about it and all of that, I've marked myself
Well,
up.
you have just contradicted yourself as well then, because if you were going to give him a 7 and then say, well, he was the best player on the pitch for us until it, but you've already given other people an higher rating than that. So
I know that's the high. Only other person I gave a 7.5 to was Tanaka or
yeah,
and Pascal.
but you said Solomon was the best player on the pitch, so therefore he can't be lower.
I know that's why I changed it. All right, just stop arguing.
You said you were always right, but you're not, obviously.
No, it's a new year. All right, right then,
Right.
Piro, mate. Let's quickly get through Piro. I mean, there's not really much to talk about with Piro. I mean, he didn't even have a shot today.
No, he didn't. He didn't have much. He didn't have much of the ball, did he? He didn't have a lot to do, apart from that when he tried pressing the goalkeeper. If he'd have slid in instead of just coming up to it and got his, if he'd have got his hammer foot on the end of that, it might have gone in the back of the net. But yeah, I, I don't want to slate him too much though today because he just didn't get in. He just couldn't do anything. But and like I say, it's difficult when you've got 11 men behind the ball.
I'm going to give him a 6.
Yeah. I'd probably give him a 6 because it.
Yeah, 6. Right, let's quickly go through the subs. Obviously, the main one of note that I want to point out to is Max Verbo, who had the joint second shots of everybody on the pitch. But yeah,
Yeah,
everybody on the pitch. Sorry, my thing is not working at the moment. With 3 shots, no, 2 shots. Sorry, Dan James had 3, and then Bamford as well, who came on, had 2 shots, and Pascal as well with 2 shots. One was a header, one was the penalty. So he's getting there, but again, it's defensive. I thought Verba was actually pretty solid. I know the corner came from down his side. What rating would you give Verba, mate?
I'd probably give him a 7. Maybe
That, that's what I was thinking anyway. So
yeah.
I'm glad we agree on that one. Right. Yeah, I think there's nothing of note. Right. Let's run through Ampadu, mate. Anything of
Um,
note for him?
Not really. Just I don't think he got. He's playing out of position, and he gave a solid enough performance from where he was. But I think he needs to be in midfield where he can, or in the middle at least, if he's centre back or in the middle, or in centre midfield, because he needs to see the game as a whole, not just from
Yeah.
one side of the pitch.
6.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. And then you've got Nonto, Joseph, and Bamford. All roughly the same ratings, or anyone that stood out more than the others? Obviously, Bamford had 2 shots opposed to the other two, but
No, apart Nonto had a good shot that reminded me of Dakara's goal against Forest years ago. Um,
yes,
he had a nice volley from the edge of the area that, if that had gone in, would have lit up the stadium. But yeah, apart from that moment, nothing much.
6.5 each or
Yeah,
sixes.
I'm happy to give 6.5 for everyone.
Right. I think that sums up the game. Anything of note of the game itself, mate, or not?
No, just glad we don't have to play against John Eustace anymore. That was a boring start to the year.
Well, on that note, mate, we're still top of the league. We've gained a
Yeah,
point. Sheffield United have dropped points. Obviously, Burnley drew as well, which is good. Hannibal Lecter, or Hannibal, whatever his name is, got a red card as well, so he's going to be suspended. It is looking good. Obviously, we play Hull on Saturday, so let's get a quick prediction for you before we end it, mate.
3-0.
3-0 against Hull. I'm going to give 2-0 against Hull.
All
That's
right.
my prediction. I did originally say 0-0, but I'm going to change it now because I've just said it in my head 2-0, and we will leave it there, guys. Thank you all for listening. Craig, thank you for joining me as always.
You're welcome. See you later, everyone. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, guys.